Madrid. And there we go. All right. We're going to finish up 12.1 today with some homework questions. Got a couple of homework questions, and we're going to go into 12.2. Luckily, these are the same questions. I believe Miss Hatton and Miss Cersei are conspiring. They sent in the same questions. All right. It must be great minds think alike. What do you reckon? 12.1, 35, 12. 12.1, 35, 12. First of all, is it a test question? I don't know, because I don't know if I've ever seen this one before or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the calculator. So I'm going to go Stat, Edit, and I'm going to put in 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013. And 6.79, 7.04, 7.10, 7.46, and 7.50. Okay. And that don't look like 7. That looks like 1.5. There we go. All right, now I'm going to graph it. So I'm going to go to Stat Plot. Click Enter to go to number 1. Click On to turn the plot on. And we'll do a line graph, so we'll do that second one right there. And hit Graph. And I've already got something else in there, so hold on a second. Y is equal, let me clear that. There we go. And you're not going to be able to see it, so you need to hit Zoom and go down to number 8, I believe, 9. Zoom Statistic. And there is your graph. And it looks like this one's up. And you see that one's up right there. Now it's a little bit flat. I think they could have done a better job in graphing, because they put it real. They got too many that are similar. See, you really can't tell. And these, let me see. Trying to get back the way it was. Well, I don't know how to get back the way it was. Maybe it'll go all the way back. I guess that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, it never seems to let me do that either. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's like once you blow it up, it doesn't let you go back.
Okay, first of all, you're not going to use these. Why? Because they start at 6. See there? This one starts at 0. You want to use one that starts at 0. You don't want it starting at 6. And I think that's the only indicator right there. See, all 3 of these start at 6 something. You don't start a graph at 6. You start at 0. Choose a graph that makes the increase in the average price of the movie ticket for years appear to be large. Well, that's going to be one of these, because they don't start off with 0. I'm trying to see which one would be the difference. appear to be large. To me, all three of these look the same. I'm just going to go with B. It's D. And I have no idea because they look, if you look, these graphs look the same. So I really don't know the difference. I don't know what to tell you on that one. I know the reason it's not A. The reason it's not A is because it starts with 0, and that's the way you're supposed to do it. Okay? It says graph the line that makes the increase appear to be large. Well, all three of these are the same graph, but I really can't see the difference unless y'all help me out. 2008, 2014, 2008, 2014. I have nothing. I don't know. I mean, I could understand if the graphs were different, but am I crazy, or does all three of these graphs look the same?
No, they
I
look.
think the price
is
is dollar
different.
value.
Say again?
Oh,
I think it had to do with the dollar value.
Well, I went with the highest dollar value, and I got it wrong. This is the lowest dollar value. So, I don't know. I may be just reading into that one wrong. Do I like this question? No, not for a test question, I don't. One, I don't like it because the graphs don't match up with the graphs should match up with what you get on your calculator. Okay? Period. Because when you're writing a test question or a homework question, you've got to understand that the student should be or will be using a calculator. So the calculator, the picture that comes up right here, needs to coincide with the calculator or the Excel spreadsheet. And this one, let's see what the Excel spreadsheet does. Let's see what it graph looked like. They might have done it on the Excel spreadsheet. 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. 6.79, 7.04, 7.10, 7.46, and 7.50. Graph it. Insert. And I'm going to stick mine together. So let's see. No. Where's the chart plot? Where's the scatter plot?
maybe it's in the recommended charts.
Oh, there it is. I'm looking in the wrong one.
Oh, I'm blind.
There
I
it
didn't
is.
see that.
Huh?
I said I'm blind. I didn't even see that.
Look there. There's no comparison. The Excel spreadsheet and the calculator give you the same graph. So this one is not a very good. Whoever wrote this question, they weren't thinking about what the student would be using to graph it. Because if they would have changed this to be a better representation. Because if the Excel spreadsheet and the calculator put out the same graph, then that's what their graph should look like. So I would say the answer to the first question is the 0. The answer to the second question, it looks like to me it's the lower amount of 760 right here. Because this one is legitimate right here. But they're not asking for the legitimate. They're asking for the ones that appears to be large. The only thing I can come up with is this lower amount right here. because these graphs technically are the same graph. Now these graphs, look, all four of these graphs don't look like this, does it? Look at these graphs. What do these graphs look like?
They look like the ones in the calculator.
They actually look like the ones on the calculator or the spreadsheet. So I don't know where the hell they got these.
I'm gonna start using Excel to do my graphs.
Yeah, you can do that, especially on the test. You can use it. The test will let you use it. Now on the calculator, you just have to punch in the numbers. Some of you will see that some of your questions will have a little icon up here in the top right-hand corner right there, and you can actually copy it into the Excel spreadsheet to save you a lot of time. But I'm gonna do Miss Cersei's next, and we're gonna go with that same thinking and not even look at the graph because their graph sucks. So here I'm going to pick the 0. Well, there it is right there, the 0 right there. And down here, I'm going to pick the one with the lowest amount. Now this one is correct. So 8, 10, 8, 9. I'm going to go with the 8. Yep, that's it. You go with the lower amount. So similar question, you go with the 0, 6, 6, 0, 7. And 7, 8, 9. This one's correct. So go with 7. That's it. So go with 0 on the top, go with the lowest value on the 3. Don't use that one. It's going to be one of these 3.
Maybe their reasoning is like they want it to be like fitting within the range of prices.
Yeah, but that's not what the question says. It says show appear to be large.
Oh, I don't know then.
Yeah, that right there is what confuses me. It appears to be large, but you have the same exact graph. So I don't understand what they're asking here. I don't understand how you can see that with the same graph, with all the graphs being equal.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. It's like comparing a basket full of apples and, asking which one looks like an orange. Okay? You got all these that are exactly alike. These graphs are all, the blue part are exactly alike. And then it's asking you which one appears to be larger, and it goes with the lowest. It doesn't make sense. Now, if the graphs were different, if these graphs were different, then that would make sense. But they're not different. They're all the same. So I don't agree with that question. I don't agree with this question. I just showed you how to make it correct. All right. Now I do realize that we've got some questions for 7, but I'm gonna wait on those with Miss Cersei, okay, until we get finished with 11 and 12. And y'all keep working. Do as many as you can without questions. And then when we get through with 11 and 12, I'll come back and we'll do that. Okay.
I finally figured it out.
Well, I'm gonna keep them up there just in case, because somebody might have those same questions. Miss Hatton's got 2 also. So we'll come back to this after we finish 11 and 12. Now today we are going to go over, let me find it, what I do with it. There we go. We're going over frequency distributions. Frequency distributions. Now, what is a frequency distribution? Well, I'm going to show you before they confuse you. I'm going to show you. Hold on, let me get rid of something, please. I hate when these things, there. Okay, what is a frequency distribution? A frequency distribution is a table. Okay? A frequency distribution is a 25-cent word for a table. Okay, or you could say a chart. I'm going to give you two examples. One is a categorical or a qualitative frequency distribution. Blondes, brunettes, and redheads. 5, 8, 3. That is a frequency distribution with categorical or qualitative data. On the right-hand side, we're going to have quantitative data. And it will be classes on the left and head count on the right. So let's say 15 to 19. Sorry.
Priority 1
20
message coming in
to
on secure
24.
channel.
25 to 29, 30 to 34, and 35 to 39. 4, 6, 8, 1, 3. Now write those two examples down because those are the two examples that you might see on a standardized test. A frequency distribution is nothing but a table. And the table will have something on the left and the head count on the right. With a quantitative, you'll have classes on the left and head count on the right. Now we're going to be dealing, when it comes to this class, we're going to be talking about qualitative frequency distributions. You could have blue eyes, brown eyes, green eyes. You could have shoe color, white, blue, red. Those are all characteristics, which means categorical or qualitative data. That's what that means. Quantitative data is when these guys mean something, and these do mean numerical. These are ages. Now, I'm going to take this one for an example and bring it over to the next page. Because you need to be able to find some things with a quantitative frequency distribution. What to look for with a frequency distribution. Well, you got the frequency distribution right here. And this is called classes. And this is technically called frequency. So hold your pinky up when you say it. Frequency. So we've got 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, excuse me, 30 to 34, and 35 to 39. 4, 6, 8, 1, 3. Now the first thing you got to find is the total, which is called N. And how do you find the total of the people that's being counted?
Add them up.
Add them up. So if we add those up, that's 10, that's 19, that's 22. Somebody check my math. So we have 22. That's one thing. The second thing you need to find is called the relative frequency. Relative frequency is a 25-cent word for percentage. So I'm going to add a column right here. We're going to do this in another color. Let's do this in green. Relative frequency is equal to the frequency over the N. So 4 over 22, 6 over 22, 8 over 22, 1 over 22, and 3 over 22. Now make sure that when your frequency, your relative frequency, make sure you read the directions and make adjustments to if they want a decimal or a percent or just a fraction, a simplified fraction. That would be 2 over 11. Okay, so make sure you read the directions with frequency distribution. And that can be a decimal, a fraction, or a percent, depending on the directions. So now you know how to find N, and after you find N, you can find the relative frequency of each one, change it into a fraction, decimal, or percent based on what the directions tell you. What else can we find? Well, we can find the class width. And I'll use a yellow marker for this. And I'm just going to highlight those two numbers, and I'm going to go down here and highlight these two numbers. Now you can use any ones you want, but they got to be vertical from each other. Okay? This is called the class width. Very important. The class width is subtract vertically 20 minus 15, or 39 minus 34, or I'll do one more. Let me do 30 minus 25. They got to be vertical from each other. 30 minus 25. Doesn't matter where you pick. What is class width? Class width is 5. Okay, you got to go vertical from each other. So 24 minus 19 is 5. 29 minus 24 is 5. 34 minus 29 is 5. 35 minus 30 is 5. And that's the class width. So 1, you got to be able to find the total. 2, you got to find the relative frequency. And 3, you got to be able to find the class width. Now you got to find the midpoint. And you may not need that in here, but you may need it somewhere else. Let me do it in another color. Let's do it in blue. Midpoint. Sometimes the midpoint will be called X. Okay, sometimes. It depends on, you know, what class you're in, basically 120 or 103. But most of the time, the midpoint is going to be called X. How do you find the midpoint? Well, you add up the two numbers, lower class limit and upper class limit. Well, what the heck is that? Well, the lower class limit is this side, lower class limit. That's this side. The upper class limit is this side. So your lower class limit is 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Your upper class limit is 19, 24, 29, 34, 39. Now, to find the midpoint, you take any of the two lower class limit plus the upper class limit divided by 2. So just pick one. I'm going to pick 20 and 24. Does anybody know why I picked 20 and 24? That means I want y'all to interact with me. Why did I pick?
Even numbers.
Because they're even numbers and you put them over 2. So that means it'll be easier math. Unless you just like punishment and say, I'm going to pick 35 plus 39. Well, knock yourself out. Okay, and that's going to be 44 divided by 2, which is equal to 22. So the midpoint between 20 and 24 is 22. Okay, so that's how you find pretty much anything you need in this as far as the frequency distribution. Okay, I'm going to go over everything one more time. On the classes, you've got a lower class limit, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And then you got an upper class limit, 19, 24, 29, 34, 39. You've got your head count. And then your third column is the relative frequency, or the percentage of the class that, you know, is between 15 and 19. The percentage of class is between 20 and 24. Okay, so that's the relative frequency. Now to find the class width, you just subtract 2 vertically. 35 minus 30, 30 minus 25, 25 minus 20, 20 minus 15, 39 minus 34, 34 minus 29, and so on. That's how you get the class width. And then the midpoint is going to be between these two numbers. Just add them together and divide by 2. And that's it. I don't know how far they're going to go down this road with 12.2. But we'll look and see what they got on their slideshow.
So what if you get a decimal? Is the numbers gonna always be
Well,
open?
if these are decimals, yeah, you just put the decimal. It'll tell you to round to the nearest 10 or 100. If you got decimals here, then they're going to be decimals in your answers.
Okay.
Okay, you just read the directions. Now, I know you don't have a problem doing that because you're a female. Okay? Men, we don't read directions very well, if we read them at all. So it'll tell you if it's a question and it says, you know, find the midpoints and round to the nearest tenth, then you know probably chances are you're going to get a decimal. And it says round to the tenth, that's what you round to. But if it says round to the nearest whole number, then you'd follow the directions there. Okay. So let's see what they show us. Frequency distribution. There's, okay. I personally don't like to do questions like this because to me, it's a lot of tedious stuff, okay? They're going to put these in order and then count how many zeros there are, how many ones, how many twos. And that's basically your frequency distribution right there. How many zeros do I have? 8. How many ones do I have? 11. Class width. Lower class limits, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Upper class limits, 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, 21, 29, sorry. Midpoint, 0 plus 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Next. Okay, this is a test question. Write those numbers down. Go ahead and put them in order. We're going to do a frequency distribution based on these numbers. Now, they're going to give you the directions. So you got to wait and read the directions on the next slide. But I want you to put those in order and put them in a list from lowest to highest. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up my handy dandy spreadsheet because I want to do it on the spreadsheet. Okay. Make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. And make it a little bit wider. And move it over here. I can't make it any smaller. Okay, I'm going to start right here. I'm going to call that 46.5. 31.8, 45.8, 44.7, 40.9. And I can't type, where's the flip? 65.2, 52.4, 44.6, 53.7, 48.8, 35.5, 40.3, 39.8, 56.3, and 50.7. Now I'm going to show you how to put it in order. Highlight those numbers and go up here to data and A to Z. There you go. Now, if you want to do it on a calculator, you go to Stat, Edit, and I'm going to clear this. How do you clear it? You go up to L2, and you hit Clear, you hit Enter. And let me get to the top. And I'm going to put them in order that the book does, so that way I can show you how to do it on your calculator. 46.5, 31.8, 45.8, 44.7, 40.9. Oh, I hate using the keyboard on the calculator. I have to hit backspace, and then 40.9. 65.2, 52.4, 44.6, 53.7, and 48.8, I believe. 35.5, 40.3, 39.8, 56.3, and 50.7. Now what? Well, now you go to Stat, go down to Sort in ascending order, hit second, L1, which is 1, close parentheses, and sort. Stat, edit, and it sorted them. Okay, now when you go home tonight, you want to get to use your calculator a little bit better. You need to pull this video up and go over that, and that way you'll have it. Now, I'm going to go back over to my Excel spreadsheet. There it is. Now, the question says, let's go back to the question. It says in the next slide, construct a frequency distribution with a first class of 31.5 to 37.6. 31.5 to 37.6. $31.5, and I done forgot it. So what was it? 37.6. Thank you, class. Appreciate the help. 37.6. All right, so that's my first column. Or not my first column, but my first class. Now they need to give you more information than that. I wish they would. Let me see if they're going to give us more information. Okay, no, they're just wanting you to do the class width, which is subtract the 2, and you get 6.2. Now, I don't suggest doing it that way, but I don't have a choice because they've only given me one reason. So let's just say you can use these two going across, but I would do it only in emergency. And I need to shut down right there because that's it. Okay, so now y'all need to put slide 12. We're on slide 12, and we'll stop right there. Therefore, you can go ahead and start a little bit on 12.3, not much. So slide 12, please make a note of that. All right. The rest of y'all, I will shut down the presentation and shut down the recording. And y'all are welcome to go.